She was just doing her job, blocking a luxury car at the gate. But when the rear window lowered, Maya's world stopped. The man inside wasn't just any CEO. He was the father of her secret daughter. The daughter he never knew existed. 8 years of silence, one chance encounter, and a truth that could destroy everything, or change it forever. The rain hammered against the security booth as Maya Chan adjusted her uniform collar, trying to shake off the exhaustion that came with working double shifts. As a single mother to her 7-year-old daughter Lily, she couldn't afford to turn down over Timmy €1, not when the medical bills from Lily's recent hospital stay were piling up on her kitchen counter. Her ex-husband had disappeared years ago, leaving her to navigate parenthood and financial struggles alone. After 3 years working security at Hartwell Industries, she had the policy manual practically memorized. The sleek black Mercedes pulled up to the gate at exactly 7:47 p.m. 15 minutes past regular visiting hours. The tinted windows reflected the harsh LED lights of the gatehouse, making it impossible to see who sat inside. The driver, a stern-looking man in an expensive suit, barely glanced at her. "We're not visitors. Open the gate." Maya's jaw tightened. She'd dealt with entitled executives before €, people who thought rules didn't apply to them. "Sir, I need to see identification and verify your appointment." Company Police Euro, no exceptions. "Do you know who's in this car?" the driver asked, his voice dripping with condescension. "I don't care if it's the president," Maya replied, standing her ground despite her heart racing. "Nobody enters without proper clearance after hours." The driver reached for his phone, muttering something about getting her fired, when the rear window suddenly lowered with a soft electronic hum. Maya found herself looking at a man in his late 30s, impeccably dressed, with tired eyes and an expression that shifted from irritation to something else entirely surprise, perhaps even shock. It was Daniel Hartwell, the boy she'd dated in college, the one who'd promised her forever before his wealthy family had torn them apart. The man who'd broken her heart so thoroughly that she'd left the city, changed her plans, and tried to forget he'd ever existed. And sitting beside him in the back seat, playing with what looked like an expensive tablet, was a little girl who couldn't have been more than 6 or 7 years old. A little girl with Daniel's distinctive dark hair and sharp features. "Maya." Daniel's voice cracked slightly. "Maya Chan." She couldn't move, couldn't speak. 8 years had passed since she'd last seen him. 8 years since she'd discovered she was pregnant and tried to call him, only to learn he'd already married the society heiress his parents had chosen. 8 years since she'd made the impossible decision to raise their daughter alone rather than disrupt his carefully planned life. Their daughter, Lily, who was at home right now with the elderly neighbor who watched her during Maya's night shifts. "Sir, I still need to see your identification," Maya managed to say, her voice barely steady. Her mind was racing, her hands trembling as she clutched the clipboard like a lifeline. Daniel stared at her as if seeing a ghost. "You work here?" As a security guard, the judgment in his voice, however unintentional, stung worse than the rain now soaking through her uniform. "Yes, Mr. Hartwell. I work here, as a security guard, and unless you have proper authorization, I can't let you through." The little girl in the back seat looked up from her tablet, curious about the conversation. "Daddy, why are we stopped?" "Daddy." The word hit Maya like a physical blow. So this was his daughter, his legitimate daughter, the one he had with his wife. The half-sister Lily would never know about. Maya felt her heart shatter all over again. While she'd been struggling alone, working double shifts, choosing between groceries and electricity bills, Daniel had been living the perfect life, with another child, another family, everything she'd dreamed of having with him. Daniel seemed to shake himself out of his daze. "Maya, I'm the CEO of Hartwell Industries. This entire campus belongs to my family's company. I have access to my own building." "Then you'll have to provide me with the documentation to prove it," Maya said, hating how small her voice sounded. Marcus, the driver, was already on his phone, no doubt calling someone to verify his employer's identity. Daniel's eyes never left Maya's face, and she could see the questions forming behind them. The same questions she'd asked herself 1,000 times over the years. You disappeared, Daniel said quietly, ignoring the professional distance she was trying to maintain. After graduation, you just vanished. I tried to find you. Maya laughed bitterly. You try to find me? You got married 3 months after we broke up, Daniel. To Vanessa Ashford, exactly like your parents wanted. I saw the photos in the society pages. It wasn't, he started, then glanced at his daughter and fell silent. Some conversations weren't meant for young ears. The security phone in Maya's booth began to ring, undoubtedly Marcus's call being routed through. But Maya couldn't move, couldn't tear herself away from this moment that felt like standing at the edge of cliff. Mommy called me, the little girl announced suddenly, holding up her tablet to show Daniel. She says I forgot my allergy medicine at her house and wants to know if you picked it up. Mommy, not mom, but mommy, said with the casual affection of a child used to having both parents actively present in her life. The life Maya had never been able to give Lily, no matter how hard she tried. Tell her I have it, Sophie, Daniel said gently to his daughter, then turned back to Maya. Please, let me explain. Not here, not like this, but can we talk? After your shift, Mr. Hartwell, Maya said, forcing herself back into professional mode. Your driver's call is coming through. I need to answer that line and verify your credentials. Then I'll open the gate and you can proceed to your building. That's the extent of our interaction. She turned and walked back to the booth, her legs somehow still functioning despite feeling like they might give out at any moment. The call confirmed what she already knew. Daniel Hartwell had unrestricted access to the campus. She was supposed to apologize for the inconvenience and immediately grant him entry. Instead, she pressed the button to raise the gate and spoke into the intercom with mechanical politeness. You're clear to proceed, Mr. Hartwell. Have a good evening. The Mercedes pulled forward, but instead of driving through, it stopped beside her booth. Daniel's window lowered completely this time. Maya, please. I know this is... I can't even imagine what you must think, seeing me like this. But I need to talk to you. Name the time and place. Why? The question burst out of her before she could stop it. Why does it matter now? You have your life, Daniel. Your company, your daughter, your... She couldn't bring herself to say wife. My divorce was finalized 6 months ago, he said quietly. And seeing you again, right now, after all these years, Maya, I've spent 8 years wondering what happened to you, wondering if you ever thought about me. A crack of thunder interrupted him, loud enough to make Sophie squeal in the back seat. Daniel glanced back at his daughter, concern immediately replacing everything else on his face. You should go, Maya said. She's scared. Tomorrow, Daniel pressed. Come to my office tomorrow. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. A text from Mrs. Patterson, her neighbor. Lily's asking when you'll be home. Told her another hour. She made you a drawing at school today. Something about a princess and a castle. Maya's hand trembled as she typed back a response. Lily, her daughter, their daughter. The secret she'd kept for 8 years because Daniel had moved on, because she'd been too proud to become the other woman in some wealthy family scandal, because she convinced herself it was better this way. But now he was divorced. Now he was here. And tomorrow, she would have to decide whether to walk into his office and potentially upend both of their lives, or walk away and keep the secret that had defined her existence for nearly a decade. The rain continued to fall, washing away nothing, as Maya sat in her booth and tried to imagine how she could possibly explain to Daniel that when he'd been searching for her 8 years ago, she'd been in a hospital 20 miles away, giving birth to the daughter he never knew existed. A daughter with his eyes, his stubborn chin, and a smile that broke Maya's heart every single day because it reminded her of everything she'd lost. Tomorrow, she thought. Tomorrow she would decide whether to tell him the truth that would change everything. But tonight, she just had to make it through her shift, go home, kiss her sleeping daughter goodnight, and try to forget the look in Daniel's eyes when he'd asked her to give him a chance to explain. As if explanations could bridge 8 years of silence. 8 years of struggle. 8 years of a little girl growing up asking why she didn't have a daddy like the other kids. Maya closed her eyes and let the tears come, mixing with the rain on the window, invisible to anyone who might be watching. Some gates, once closed, could never truly be opened again. But tomorrow, she would find out if she was brave enough to try. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., she would walk into that building. Not as the girl who'd loved and lost Daniel Hartwell, but as the mother who'd spent 8 years protecting her daughter. And if she told him the truth, both their worlds would change forever. But Lily deserved to know her father. And maybe, just maybe, it was time to stop running from the past. As the rain finally began to ease and the first hints of dawn touched the horizon, Maya Chun made her choice. Tomorrow, everything would change. The only question was, would it change for better or for worse?